Alright. I was going to start with my series on the epistles today, but as the title suggests, that's not the case. The reason I wanted to do today's lesson is because when I was going through the Gospels, when I first started the series, I actually skipped this. I missed Zacchaeus the tax collector, which is weird because that's actually one of my favorite stories in the Gospel, and I just wanted to go over what I missed while, I can still remember it. So, today we are going to be doing the story of Zacchaeus the tax collector and examining what the overall meaning of the story is. And I'm reading from my phone, so you don't know how I'll have to look up close of my almost bald head. Anyway, Luke chapter 19. Jesus entered Jericho and was passing through. A man was there by the name of Zacchaeus. He was a chief tax collector and was wealthy. He wanted to see who Jesus was, but being a short man, he could not, because of the crowd. So he ran ahead and climbed a sycamore fig tree to see him, since Jesus was coming that way. When Jesus reached the spot, he looked up and said, "Zacchaeus, come down immediately. I must stay at your house today." So he came down at once and welcomed him gladly. All the people saw and began to mutter, "He has gone to be the guest of a sinner." But Zacchaeus stood up and said to the Lord, "Look, Lord, here and now I give half my possessions to the poor, and if I have cheated anybody out of anything, I will pay back 4 times the amount." Jesus said to him, "Today salvation has come to this house, because this man too is a son of Abraham. For the Son of Man came to seek and to save what was lost." Okay, now as we can see here, we have this guy who is a tax collector, and tax collectors were really hated among the Israelites. But why exactly? Well, I'm sure some of you know this, especially some of those of you who are real familiar with the Bible and these stories, but tax collectors were not sought in favor because what they would do is they would charge, they would basically extort people. They would charge them way more than what they had to. And this is so they can make a profit. And people really hated it, and some of them really went overboard in what they charged. And that's why they referred to him as a sinner, because to them it was sinful, and that type of stuff pretty much is, because you're deceiving people and extorting them. Anyway, now we can see here that Zacchaeus did a complete 180 from what you think he would do. He basically turned back and gave to the poor. But let's look at, why did Jesus, you know, give him salvation? Why did Jesus say today salvation has come to this house? Was it because he gave half of his possessions to the poor? Was it because he promised to pay back anyone 4 times as much if he cheated anyone? No. It's not the reason why Jesus said that. It's a noble thing to do that. Don't get me wrong, that cannot be understated. But that's not the reason. The reason is he was willing to change because he believed Jesus. He accepted Jesus. He called him Lord. He and he accepted who Jesus was, and he accepted to change his ways to follow Jesus. And this is basically the fundamentals of when we become a Christian. When we become a Christian, there has to be a change. Our old self is gone, and our new self is created, is emerged. And with that comes change. Now, not everyone starts out as like, drug addicts or whatever. Not everyone starts out their Christianity coming from a really bad person. That happens, yes. But our old self is gone, and as a new creation, we are to follow Jesus, and we are supposed to change from who we were before, which was sinners. And that's why the story, I like this story, and I look at it as how important it is, because it shows how we are supposed to be when we come to know Christ and believe in him. We're supposed to change. We're supposed to turn away from our old ways. And we must do that. We are to be a different person, a new creation in Christ. Even if, we weren't a bad person before. Before I got saved, I was raised my whole life in church. I was 10 or 11 years old, so I was a kid. So I didn't do anything real bad anyway. But I was basically, a church goer. I was a good kid. So I didn't have any fundamental change to where I was a bad guy. But even still, we are a new creation, and we are to follow a new path in Jesus. And that's why Jesus told Zacchaeus, today salvation has come to this house, is because Zacchaeus changed his ways and to follow Jesus. And as Christians, when we are saved, we are supposed to do likewise. So yeah, that was a story I forgot to do when I was doing the Gospels. Zacchaeus the tax collector, it's one of my favorites. Don't know why I skipped it. I guess I had prioritized a lot of other things. So yes, I will be starting in the epistles, and it's just a large undertaking of where I need to start and stuff. I'm still trying to figure that out. I should get it done by next week. If not by next week, definitely the week after, so prepare for that. There's also a song about Zacchaeus we learned at church. I would sing it, but I don't want to scare away the few viewers that do watch this with my less than adequate singing voice. So anyway, I hope you guys all have a good and safe and blessed week. I will see you next time. Love you all. Bye bye.